Welcome to the Keep Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori. I've been eagerly anticipating this day. Have my sister on the podcast. Let me tell you something. I've been trying to get Pam on the podcast. Has it been about 2 years?
It's been a minute.
But before we start the podcast, and talk about the reason why we're here to talk about your podcast, tell everyone a little bit about yourself. Of course, she's known as Big P, and you're on what two? Aren't you on like three different stations?
Oh wow, yeah. So I two stations in Florence. No, one station in Florence, two stations in Myrtle Beach, and one in Fayetteville. So yeah,
Four.
yeah. Busy
That's
lady,
what's up.
busy lady.
That's what's up. And how long? Tell the people how long you have been doing radio. Because you've been doing radio.
Oh,
Listen, you actually you set the ground roots and foundation for me. So how long have you been doing it? Because I've been doing it for at least 23. So how long you've been doing it long before me? So how long have you been in?
when did you start? When did you start?
In 2000.
Okay, it was 95 for me.
Okay. Okay. Because
It
I was
was
gonna
95.
say because I know it's close to at least I know it's close to at least about 30.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been one of those things where it's like a niche that you find that you love, and then when it takes root, what else can you do? I mean, it's like I love what I do. Don't get me wrong; it gets hectic at times. Trying to keep up with so many different you know stations and all, and still work a job. You know, but like I said, when you find something that you love doing, it doesn't feel like work really. So yeah, it's been a long journey. It's been a good journey. So yeah.
Yeah, but listen, you doing it though. You're doing the doggone thing. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you were on like four different stations, and then the reason why we're here, because I believe in, I love, like, I appreciate all that you've done. Like I said, you set the foundation for people like me because you came before I did. So you set the foundation and the groundwork for me. So I believe in giving people their flowers while they're
Absolutely.
still here. So
Absolutely.
I'm
And you've
super
always
excited.
done that. You've always done that. You've always been in my corner, and I appreciate that. I really do, because it doesn't come unnoticed. And when you have real authentic people in your life and your support system, it means a lot. You don't have to worry about the negativity. You don't have to worry about the jealousy, because it's real. It's coming from a place of realness, and it really shows. So I really want to thank you for all of your support through all of the years, through everything. Yeah. So I appreciate you.
Listen, I'm super excited. Like you wear so many hats, but listen, I'm gonna put this flyer up. We're gonna probably cover our faces a little bit, but this is why
Oh, you
we're
can cover my
here.
face, girl.
Listen, this
Who,
is
who
why
is
we're
that?
here. This
Who
is
is
why
that
we're
girl?
here. We want to talk about the new podcast, the Tissue Box Podcast with Pam Jordan. When I tell you, y'all, this podcast is simply amazing. And actually, I'm still upset that I wasn't able to make the launch. But let me tell y'all, when Pam put the flyer out, she was like, make sure you register so you can be at the location for the launch. I was super excited. Then I happened to look at them. I'm like, Pam, birthday on a Wednesday.
Oh, girl.
It's my
Look,
church night.
that for a lot of people, I was like, I know this gonna be Bible study night. So look, I ain't gonna hold nothing against y'all if you don't be there, okay? Because I understand. Because if it hadn't been my birthday and the launch party, I would have been in Bible study too. So yeah, yeah.
That's the only reason I wasn't there, because of Bible study. And then I said, well, I'm gonna come after Bible study. But in my mind, I'm like you. You like to be places early. So I was like, no, if I go after Bible study, I don't probably miss the good part. I don't know what I missed. I like to be places early. So man, I was like,
I get it, honey. But we had a phenomenal time. Everything was timed out perfectly, and everything was timed out with a purpose. because not only was it was my birthday, but it was also the launch, the birthing of the Tissue Box podcast. So it was an incredible night. It was super special to me, and this whole journey that I'm on right now with the Tissue Box truly came from heaven above. I mean, I have to give God all the praise because He deserves it. None of this is me. I'm just a channel that He is using, and I'm just being obedient because um, everything about the Tissue Box podcast came from God. He basically told me, and it's so funny because if we are tuned into Him when He speaks and tries to give us direction, oh, it would be so easy for us to do. It would be so easy for us to move in the way that He would want us, walking into your purpose. It would be so easy for us to do that. But we have all the noise, all the crowd noise, all the distractions around us. And so when we're hearing all these noises in our right ear, in our left ear, when we turn right, when we turn left, when we look up, when we look down, we have all these distractions, and God is speaking, but we can't hear Him because He's being drowned out, by all the outside noise. So when I really stopped to listen, tried and just drowned out all the other distractions and all the noise around, He began to speak to me so loud and clear. It was like, oh, one of those kind of moments, you know? And so all the direction came from Him because I said, Lord, I don't know what you want me to do. And He said, this is what I want you to do. But I was like, no, I don't know how to do that. And He was like, girl, do you know who you're talking to? I know what you are capable of. I know what you can do. All you got to do is trust me and believe me, and I will walk you through it. Girl, I felt like Moses. When He spoke to me, I was like, okay, give me that rod. I got it. I can do this. And so I was like, okay, well, all right, I hear you. You told me I can do this. I'm gonna do it, but I don't know what to do next. And He said, well, just listen to me. Just listen. I'm gonna guide you. And next thing I know, He dropped the tissue box in my lap, just as loud and clear and plain as all outside, you know? Because I was like, I don't know what you want me to do this, but what I have no name. I'm not creative like that. I don't know what to. He just slightly, ever so gently, just whispered the tissue box. It came from Him. It didn't come from me.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, well, let's get the ball rolling. And yeah, the rest is history. And we're starting off on this journey. And my team is just absolutely phenomenal. There's no way I could be where I am in the early stages of this podcast launch without Whitney Victoria. She's my coordinator. She does everything. She's amazing. And so yeah, it's been wonderful. The launch party, leading up to the launch party, it was so exciting. And then to walk in to see, because I didn't see any of the venue prior to me walking in that night. And when I walked in, I was like, oh, look at my God working. Look at Him moving. And so, yeah, I'm just incredibly blessed, and I'm so thankful for everyone who's been a part of the Tissue Box podcast. And basically, what we do, we set out to change trauma's narrative. We want to just highlight and talk about mental wellness and get the stigma and the shame off of mental illness. And you're crazy, something's wrong with you. We're trying to talk about these things so it'll be easier for people who are going through the same things to talk about. So I want to thank everybody that's been a part of the Tissue Box podcast thus far. in sharing their stories and willing to come forward, because it's not always easy. We know there's a lot of shame with your trauma. You just want to hide it, but it's not going to go away because the more you hide it, the more angry you are inside. And you got to be able to get through. And so many people are angry and dealing with so many different types of trauma. And we're trying to erase the shame. And the only way you're going to do that is to have candid conversations about it, And I know that's tough. I know it's hard to do, but you got to think about your healing and what your healing looks like. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the message out that we want people to feel comfortable talking about this. Find a safe place, because too many um, too many suicides are happening, out of nowhere, and you think people are living their best lives, and then the next thing you know, take you Twitch, for example, from the Ellen DeGeneres show. Everybody thought he was living his best life, and he was suffering in silence. Nobody knew that, and it was something in him that said, I can't talk to anybody. And that's some heavy weight on a person when you feel like you can't talk to anybody, you know? So we just want to have conversations about trauma and mental wellness. We want people to be mentally well. So if we have to cry it out, grab a tissue and snot it out, then that's what we do. That's what we do. Because there's joy on the other side. There's triumph on the other side, and we want to get to those stories of triumph. So yeah.
Right. And I'm gonna go back through some of the comments. Kendria came on, say, "Hey y'all, what's up, Kendria?"
Hey, I got to come back for another IV hydration. Yeah. She did that. Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. That's my girl.
Yes.
And Cynthia says, "Hey ladies, what's up, Cynthia?"
Hey, Cynthia.
And she says, "This sounds awesome." And she also says, "People need a safe place to release." And
Absolutely.
let me tell you some of the. Listen, I took notes, like when I was watching the podcast. I took notes, but I don't want to mention the notes that I took because I want people to watch the podcast themselves, and then we can come back and have a discussion after. But I want you guys to watch the podcast for yourself. Make sure you subscribe to Pam's on Facebook, the Tissue Box Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to actually like and follow her channel on Facebook, and make sure you subscribe to the Tissue Box Podcast on YouTube. And that way you can see the full episode. Because let me tell you, on Facebook, she put like the perfect teasers on there. You have no choice but to go to YouTube and watch the whole episode. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, and not only can you watch on YouTube, you can subscribe to the tissuebox.com. You can click on the phone, and it'll say click to see our latest episode. It'll take you right to YouTube. Yeah. Okay. And all podcasting platforms, you can find it. Yeah. But the episode from the launch party, the live recording.
Listen.
Wow. All I can say is wow.
Right. That one, I'm like, and I love how I just love how people gravitate to you, and they feel comfortable sharing their stories, because man, like some of the stories, especially that launch party, they share some deep stuff.
And that's why I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful. But all of this come from Lord Jesus Christ. He has just blessed me, and I've been told, you have that gift. I don't think of myself as having a gift, but that's just me. But people, when you're real and you're authentic and you're organic, people know that. They can read through all the BS. They know if you fake, they know if you phony. So I'm grateful that they are trusting me with their stories and their platform, because I want to just create a safe space for people to share their stories, because That is key. You know, you don't want to be sharing a trauma with somebody who's just going, you know, laugh in your face, and go and spread stuff about you, and you know, bring shame, more shame to your name and your situation. You don't need that, you know. So what my purpose and my goal of the tissue box is that safe space for people to share. I don't
Mhm.
put any pressure on anyone. I say, I'm sure we all have traumas. What is your level of comfort with your trauma to share? I'm not going to ask any more of you than what you're willing to share, you know? But the important thing about that is starting somewhere. You got to start somewhere. So even if it's a small trauma, well, I don't know if you can say traumas are small, but anyway, any type of trauma that you're comfortable with sharing, let that be the start. Let that be the beginning. And then once you start sharing that, you'll want to share more because it frees you up. When you share that and you get that off your chest, because people out here are angry, they're hurting, and they don't even know why because they don't understand what's going on in
Mhm.
their life. They don't understand that it's the trauma that's making them angry. They don't understand that it's the trauma that's causing the chaos in their lives where they, you know, having difficulty with relationships and, you know, can't communicate, can't express themselves. They don't even understand that it's a trauma deep down that they're refusing to deal with. So once we start having conversations, genuine, honest conversations about this, that's when we're going to see the change. That's when we're going to see better relationships, stronger relationships. You know, so that's our goal. That's the goal of the tissue box.
What do you say to people that are dealing with trauma, but because you mentioned Twitch, I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea.
Devastated.
That blew my mind.
Um, and apparently, even his wife didn't. Apparently, none of his friends nor his family, nobody did. And that's why I say it. That's got to be a heavy burden. When you, I mean, oh, just to play it out in your head that he went to this lowly hotel, motel, took a gun and put it to his head and pulled the trigger. How much? I mean, I'm mm, I'm sorry. I can't even wrap my brain around that to think that you felt like you had no other recourse, nothing else that you could do, nobody that you could talk to. Where is your faith? Where is your support system? How do you not have confidence in your support system to share? But it's the shame and the stigma of I'm not okay. And everybody around me thinks that I am okay. They think that I should be okay because of what I got going on, you know? I'm living my best life, so I should be okay. So you have to become vulnerable, and that's hard for a lot of people to do, you know? So I say just, oh, a safe space is the most important thing. You got to find somebody you can release to. If you don't feel comfortable about around, you know, family or friends, get you a professional. Find a professional, and it's not always about the money. There's free
Mhm.
services out here for you. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's more comfortable for people to talk to strangers, you
Mhm.
know? And if that's the case, go find you a stranger to talk to
Yeah,
because the alternative is just unacceptable.
right. And let
Yeah.
me put this comment up here. Tish says it's very hard because people take advantage of vulnerability.
Oh, yes. Yes. That is
Whew.
so bad. Ooh, ding, 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 ding. Now you said a mouthful. That is so true. And that's, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. If you cannot find a safe space for you to talk to, a safe platform, a friend, a family member, if you don't have that, seek professional help. There are counselors out here that are willing. Just find someone who you can connect with on a regular. And like I said, it's not all about the money because there's free services out there for you. Okay, there is help. And if you know that you need help, see, people get that stigma in their head like, you crazy. No, you're not crazy. No, you're not crazy. You just got some traumas that you just haven't dealt with. You're afraid, and it's the fear. We got to get over the fear. And I know that's easier said than done, but that's the only way we're going to make some progress is we got to face ourselves in the mirror. We got to look and say, look, I'm afraid. I need to tell somebody what I'm dealing with. I need to tell somebody what I'm going through, you know,
Mhm.
especially our black men, you know, they have so much. Now I'm not taking anything from women. You know, we juggle. We should have been born with eight arms and eight legs. We really,
Right.
but really truly, I think they're invisible. I think we do have eight arms and eight. The way we juggle and the way we handle, sisters be doing it, you know? And sometimes we need a break. But men also, they have a lot on them, and more so because women, we'll tell our story to anybody that'll listen. You know, we will
Mhm.
share in a skinny minute, you know, but men, not so much. They hold a lot of stuff in because they're taught, I got to be the man. I can't show emotion. I got to be sturdy. I got to be strong for my family, you know, but who's going to be strong for you, bro?
Right.
You know, you got to get to a point where, you know, you're dealing with stuff and it's heavy and you want to scream. We all get to the point where we got so much on us where we want to scream. I've been there. I've
Mhm.
done that, you know? And there was a point in time where I felt like I didn't want to live anymore, you know? My faith in God though, and I had two babies to feed. I was like, what you gonna do if you leave here? Are you
Right.
crazy? I'm like, are you really thinking straight? You really thinking about taking your life? Why would you do that? You know? And sometimes we have to talk ourselves through that. So I had to talk myself through that. You know? You got two babies to feed. You got so much to live for. And where is your faith? You have faith in God. You know He's never going to leave you. And think about this is what did it for me though, Tori. This is what did it. This was my light bulb moment when I was going through that tough time. I said to myself, how disappointed must God be in me right now if I'm thinking about taking my own life?
Mm.
And it's like, whoo, that did something for me. That sent chills through my body. I was like, I never want to disappoint him. And so that took it real deep for me. And I was like, girl, you better get yourself up and get yourself together. Okay. And that's exactly what I did. I had to get myself up and get myself together. But sometimes we have to talk through those situations. And back then, you know, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was just talking to me because I'm like that too. I'm super private. I don't like to share a lot, you know, with people. But my release is my conversations with God. That's my release. I go into my little corner and I say, Lord, you know it all. You know everything I'm going through. You know everything I'm dealing with. You know, um, and I know you're never going to leave me. So sometimes we have to push God in a corner and say, look, I'm standing on your promises. You said you would never leave me. You said you would never forsake me. I'm standing on your word. And I know you can't lie. I know you're going to come through on your promise. So through those tough times, um, that's what kept me going. That's what kept me going. And so I'm stronger. I'm better now. And through this platform of the tissue box, I am just inviting everyone in to have conversations about you. You're not alone. I know you feel like you're by yourself. I know you feel like you're alone. Because that's how it feels when we're going through stuff. We feel like, oh, the weight of the world on my shoulder. Don't nobody know all the pain and sorrow I'm going through. You know, we've all said that,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not alone. That's the message. You're not alone. You have to understand that you got to seek some help. You got to. If it ain't nothing but going in your closet and screaming, scream if you have to, and say, Lord, help me. He will send you help.
Mm-hmm.
He will send it. He will send it. But he's not going to force himself on you. You have to be willing. You have to be willing to ask for him to come in and change you. And he will.
Pam, you preaching, Bo? Let me find. Listen, let me find out. Let me find out. You gonna be doing initial sermon. Let me find
Girl,
out.
my life is a living testimony, okay? I'm just talking about how good he's been to me and where he
Yeah.
brought me from, you know? And it's a testimony. And I'm just so thankful and so grateful to be here to tell it and to share it and to give people a space, give folk a space where they can create that environment of safety and peace. And it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's, you know, none of us are ever always okay, you know? And it can be people around you just a smiling. And sometimes I have to do that. Sometimes I have to put a smile on my face to encourage myself, even when I'm feeling just as crappy on the inside as I possibly can be, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But you
Mm-hmm.
have to encourage yourself, you know?
Right. Now
So
let me put this comment up there. Go ahead, keep talking. You have to encourage yourself. Keep talking.
yeah, you have to encourage yourself because sometimes it's, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. We have a lot on us, especially, you know, since COVID. People have been going through things, and you know, your mind don't be right all the time.
No,
It
no.
don't be right all the time, and it's okay. And everybody's like on edge. Everybody is just like trigger happy. Everybody ready to pull a gun and blow somebody's brains out. Why? Because you got some messed up trauma in your life that you haven't been able to deal with.
Right.
So that's why these conversations need to be had, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
needs to be a judgment free zone. You know, when you honestly, genuinely can hear somebody's hurt and know where they're coming from and give them encouraging words, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my goal. That's my whole purpose of the tissue box. And it's been an amazing start so far. I mean, it's just blowing my mind. We're only what, like 3 weeks in, maybe going on a month in, and the feedback has been tremendous. And I'm so thankful and so grateful. And I just give God all the glory because this is just him. All
Yep.
him.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna put this comment back up. You was flowing, so I put it down.
Oh,
But
sorry,
Tis,
sorry.
no, when you flowing, you gotta keep going. And Tis says, but when you share, people will listen, but then they forget about you.
Oh no. You ain't telling the right people. Uh-uh. No, 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 no. But let me tell you how you decipher that. Okay? Because you have to ask God. You have to where is your faith? You have to ask God for discernment. Ask him for discernment to show you the right. He'll let you know when you get ready to share, and he'll be like, "Wait, man, hold up, that ain't the right one. You don't need to be sharing with that one." He will let you know because you'll second guess yourself. Maybe I shouldn't tell her. That's God speaking to you, saying, "And that's not the right one." But when you come across and you ask God for discernment, ask Him, Lord, you know what I'm going through. You know I need to release this. Please show me who I need to release it to. That should be your prayer. Let that be your prayer. And if you're honest with yourself, let God show you who He wants you to share your trauma with, your intimate details, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you feel like you're ashamed of and you can't tell it. There is nothing too hard for God. If you tell him and say, God, I've got to get, I'm telling you, and I know that you know already because you know all, but I've got to release this to someone. Give me discernment, Lord. Help me to understand. Give me the right people in my path. Show me the right person who I need to just to spill my heart and soul out to. And he will. Trust and believe that. You got to trust and believe that. But he will.
Oh, that's a perfect response. That is so true. You have to be discernment with who you share your information. Because
Praise
I'm
God.
glad you said that, because there are some people I shared with and they actually used
Woo!
what I shared against me.
They'll do
Not
that.
only did not only did they use what I shared with against me, but they used what I shared to talk about me. And I'm just like, Lord, so now that's key. What you said, you got to be careful
Hmm.
who you share with. Yeah, you're not talking to the right people. And then
Right.
here's another thing for me. And me and Tanya talked about this on one of the podcasts that we did, where
Hmm.
sometimes when you okay, say you go through whether it be a, a ex boyfriend or whoever or a friend,
Oh, child,
sometimes
let's
you
not talk
and
about them.
sometimes listen, sometimes you share stuff with them. And I know me, I'm the type of person, if I no longer am connected to you,
Hmm.
whatever you shared with me in confidence, I'm not going to tell your business, because I believe in having integrity. But
Yes.
everybody does not have integrity.
Everybody don't flow like that. Everybody don't flow like that. I'm the same way, Tori. What you say to me is between me and you. I don't even care if our friendship ends, our relationship ends. I'm not gonna go out here and tell your business. Why would I
Mhm.
do that? But some people, that's how they roll. Some people, that's how they roll. But you got to be, like I said, you have to pray and ask God for discernment. He will send you the right people. He will place the right people in your path where you can feel comfortable about sharing your story. And like I said, if you struggle with that, seek professional help. There are folks out here that are willing to help you. And if it's better to talk to a stranger sometimes, then so be it. And I know you want your girlfriend to be your girlfriend. You want to be able to share with her everything that you're going through. You know, she's your best friend, but sometimes, just
Mhm.
sometimes,
Right.
sometimes.
Right. And I'm gonna put up a couple Tanya comment. What's up,
Hey,
Tanya?
Tanya!
And Tanya says you can't just talk and share. You have to do the work to heal. Woo!
Oh, praise God, you got to do that now. You got to put in the work. And that's what I meant by looking at yourself in the mirror. Now, when you have conversations about what you're going through and your trauma, and you know you got to change, you got to take a hard look in that mirror at yourself first and look at you. And sometimes that's hard for people to do because they know when I look at myself in the mirror, you see it. You're forced to see yourself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people don't want to do that, but you got to stand there and look at yourself in the mirror and go through all the feelings and emotions you need to go through, whether that's crying, whether that's being angry, but you got to see yourself for who you are. And then you got to change. You got to change. You got to put in the work because it's not it's not going to do a bit of good for you to acknowledge, you know,
Yeah.
who you
Yeah.
are and what you've been through. You got to do the work. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. Sometimes you don't want to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to be
Yeah.
ready. And if you're not ready to do the work, then you're not ready. You're not ready to change.
Yeah.
And the one thing about it is you can't force anybody to change. They have to want to change.
Yeah, you
They
can
gotta
want it for
want it.
listen, you can want it for them all day long, but if they don't want it for themselves, you wasting your time.
You're wasting your time. Amen to that, sis. They got to be ready. And if they ain't ready, that's not your burden to bear. Okay? All you can do is pray for them from a distance because they're not ready. And you just have to pray an intercessory prayer and say, Lord, Mm. I pray one day they'll be ready.
Mm-hmm.
I pray one
And
day they'll be ready.
and you know what my problem is? I remember I had Whitney on my podcast a couple years ago, and one of my things is one of the issues I think I'm learning how to balance more now. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the issues that I had when people would come and talk to me and they share with me, what they're going through, I had a hard time of releasing it. And Whitney said to me, Tori, it's not for you to carry.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not for you to carry. So I would be carrying, like, say if I'm talking, like, that's why now a lot of times there are certain times of the day I don't answer no calls. I don't answer any text messages. Certain times of the day and certain days of the week, I just need just a mental break. No phones, no calls, no texts. And it's like I can have 3 different people that like dump on me.
Mm.
And not only am I carrying the weight of what I got going on, it's like they dump it on me and I'm starting to lean over because I'm carrying their stuff too.
No, you can't do that. No.
And she's like, Tori, it ain't for yours, it ain't for you to carry.
Girl,
And I was like,
you have to pray for them and keep it moving. You have to pray and sincerely pray because it's happened to me a few times, you know.
mm-hmm,
And it's not really because people aren't really some people are real hesitant
mm-hmm,
about what they're going through. They'll just contact me and say, "Can you just pray for me? Can you just pray for me?" And I
mm-hmm,
immediately start praying. I said, Lord, I don't know what they're going through. I don't know what it is, but I know you know. And I'm just asking you to cover them, protect them, give them the peace, calm their anxieties, whatever it is they're dealing with, Lord, in Jesus' name. You know, that's all. Sometimes that's all that's needed. So when you do that, you release it from yourself. You're not carrying the burden. You're not carrying the burden, you know?
yeah. And I'm glad you said that because a lot of times if somebody come to you and ask you to pray, they just simply say, pray for me.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, what you got going on? And some people,
Know your
it's
business. If I wanted to tell you that, I would tell you that. I'm asking you to pray for me. That's all you need to know.
but
Okay? I mean,
everybody,
for real. For real. I'm
yeah,
serious. I
yeah,
don't and that's what happens to me when people come and I'm just so thankful. I'm just so
hmm,
thankful. When they come and they ask for prayer, I don't ask what it is. I don't need to know.
hmm,
I don't need to know because I know who knows all and
right,
can answer your prayer and can save you from whatever it is that you're going through, right? So
absolutely,
that's all I need to know. If you want me to pray, don't tell me nothing else. I
right.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing that's a pet peeve for me. Like, don't tell now what I start doing if somebody asks me to pray, especially if they're in my presence, I start pray immediately. Don't
Oh
tell
yeah.
somebody you gonna pray and don't pray because people good for that. Oh, I'm a pray.
I know. Yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like that either because I'm conscious of that now. We're in a group at church, and when something happens, they'll put it in the chat, and I'll say I'm praying right now, and I'll just
hmm,
whatever. As soon as I read it, I'm in prayer.
yeah,
I'm in prayer. I don't play with that at
yeah,
all. You know,
yeah,
God has been too good to me.
hmm,
And whenever I get an opportunity to pray, girl, I'm on it
right, right,
because he just gets all the glory. I'm just in perfect. And the thing about it is, we talk about how people want to be happy. I want everybody to be happy, but happiness is a feeling. You can be happy one minute and mad and pissed off the next and sad the
hmm,
next. That's a feeling. Happiness will come and go. What you really need to shoot for is joy. And joy can only come from heaven above. God gives you joy, right? You got to
Mm-hmm.
understand the difference. Seek the joy, because if you seek joy, you're going to have joy no matter what. In the midst of chaos, whenever you're going through a storm, you still going to have joy, because nothing will be able to move you from the joy that comes from God.
Mm.
Nothing will. Nothing will be able to shake your faith. You be like, Lord, I ain't got no money to pay these bills, but God, I know you, Jesus. I know, I'm still praising you. You know, I got chaos all around me. I got sickness. I got whatever it is that you got going on. If you have joy,
Mm-hmm.
nobody can take that away from you.
Absolutely.
If you just have that happiness and you go through the storm and something come at you, what you gonna do? You have a feeling that is real flighty, where you can be happy one minute, sad the next, mad the next, but
Mm-hmm.
joy is everlasting, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So
Yeah.
that's what we should be seeking: joy, total
Mm-hmm.
joy. Yes,
Ooh, that's powerful right there. Let me see.
yes.
Let me show some comments. Tasha says, please tell me how you were able to stop carrying others' problems. If I can release their problems, I would be so mentally if I can release their problems, I would not be so mentally drained. Okay. Now you can answer that question. I'm gonna answer it first, and then because I know I was carrying people's stuff. What I had to do, Tasha, certain people that call me they only call me when they want to dump on me. I had to set necessary boundaries. And
See,
there are times where I said, I can't take this call right now. It's like I'll feel it in my spirit. Oh, I can't take this call right now. And there's
but look at where you are, Tori. I'm so glad you said that. You feel it in your spirit.
yeah,
Right? That's that
yeah,
discernment I was telling you about. You get it.
yes.
You be like, I can't do that right now. And it's in my spirit that I can't take it. That's God giving you discernment. He's letting you know this ain't the
Mm-hmm.
right time for that right now.
Mm-hmm. And certain people I would talk to, when I get off the phone, I would be so drained. It was to the point where it was causing me physical illness. I was
Mm-mm.
having back-to-back migraines. When I start talking to certain people, it's like the migraines will just fade away.
See
So
that?
now I got those boundaries. There's some people I don't even talk to. There's some people I had to block.
That's it. That's that boundaries are, and it's hard for some people when you have a caring heart,
Mm-hmm.
and you just want to be everything to everybody, and you just want, it's hard to set boundaries. But sometimes you got to, especially if it's affecting your mental wellness, if it's affecting you physically, you got to be like, wait a minute, hold up. I got to walk away from this. Just give me some space. I, you know, but that's where the discernment comes in again. It's so important.
And
It's so
also understanding that no is a complete sentence. When I would say no, it's like I had to say, well, I got to give an explanation. No, now I just
I felt so guilty for saying no. I felt like I had to explain myself, like, well, but I was like, P, wait a minute. No, you ain't got to explain nothing to nobody. No, it's no, because you want to be everything. You feel like you want to do everything and be there for everybody. But I'm like, sometimes no is no, and no is a good thing.
Mhm.
Sometimes no is necessary, and you don't have to have a whole explanation. Well, I can't come pick you up because I got X, Y, and Z to do. No, I just can't come pick you up today.
Right.
I can't do it. Period.
Right,
I
right.
mean, I'm just using that as an example, but you
Yeah.
get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
No is
absolutely.
no. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to stick with it. Now, how would you answer her question? Like, because I'm pretty sure you had the same issue because you have a caring heart as well. So, how did you stop carrying other people's stuff? How did you come through with that?
That's hard. That's you know what? That's still a work in progress, you know, because I retreat sometimes. I fall back sometimes, and I'll be like, "Oh, P, you wasn't supposed to do that." Mm-mm. Um, so it's a process for me, because it's hard, because I do have a heart that wants to. It's the disappointment for me. you know, and that's something that I had to deal with. And I'm still processing it where I just don't want to disappoint anybody. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
that's hard, but that's a thing that I'm dealing with. But and it's a constant. Sometimes I just have to tell myself, well, Pam, you know, you just can't please everybody. You can't do it. You can't do it. And it's okay. You know, if if they're real in your lives, if there's somebody that's important to you, they'll understand, and you won't have to give them an explanation, right?
Right.
But if you say no to them, and you know you try to, you know, just like break away from the situation and say, I can't deal with this right now. If they get angry, they upset, then they're not supposed to be. They ain't your real. They ain't in your circle, right?
Not at all.
Not in your circle, because the person who truly loves you, truly cares about you, would understand when you say, or no, or I can't bear this burden right now. You know, um, people don't like to be, you know, disappointed. And sometimes that disappointment turns into angry, and that could be some trauma that they dealing with. You know,
Mhm.
it may not be on purpose, you know,
Mhm.
that they're reacting that way. But you know, it just comes with discernment. Again, you just have to pray and ask God to give you the right words to say. um you know, just ask him to guide your mouth, guide your tongue. I have to say that all the time, girl. That's
Right.
my prayer all the time. Lord, guide my mouth, guide my tongue, don't let me say the wrong thing, you
Right.
know. And so that's what I have to do, you know. And it's not easy. It's not easy. You just have to take it one day at a time, you
Right.
know. And every day you'll get stronger, and you'll build up that, you know, that um, the tolerance to say, you know what, it's okay. And then you'll realize it's not so bad to say
Mhm.
no, you know,
Mhm.
because you can't please everybody. And I know even your significant other or your husband or whatever, you can't please them all the time. You can't do it. You can't
No.
please your kids all the time. You can't please your employer all the time at your job. You can't please anybody all the time. So the sooner you come to terms with that, the easier your life gonna be. You know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And then
I know I say this a lot, and I don't know if this is a good thing, but I find myself saying this all the time. I say whatever. You know. I know. But sometimes I have to say that to get through my situation. Because I mean, like, there are more important things going on, you know? So if that's what you want to, whatever, you know?
yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't carry it. Because if you try to carry it, it's going to weigh you down, and then
Mm,
you're going to get frustrated. So
right.
my thing is whatever, you know?
Right.
Now, if it truly, truly, truly matters to me, oh, I'm going to dig in deep, and I'm going to find a way. But again, and I know I've been preaching discernment all night, all evening, but it's that discernment, you know, asking God to let you know what's real and what's fake, right?
Right. Right.
Where you need to channel your energy, and where you need to just chill out, you
Right.
know? So
Mhm.
that's my thing. And I know I say whatever a lot. I probably say it more than I should, but I'd be like, whatever. I'm like, I can't carry that. I'm not gonna carry that. Whatever, you know.
Yeah. And Tanya said, when you were talking about joy earlier, oh, what happened to Pam? Oh, Lord, what happened? But anyway, let me see if Pam's gonna be able to come back on her phone. I don't know if phone might have died or something, but Tanya was saying, and peace. Um, when it comes to when Pam was talking about the joy, and then Shalonda said, joy is not predicated on your circumstances. Yes. And then Tish says that unspeakable joy. Tasha says, I'm a little better at saying no, and thank God for that. I definitely need to learn how to set boundaries and it's tough because it's close family members that I love dearly. Listen, when it comes to family, you have to be able to say no too. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes and see if Pam will be able to come back on. Her phone may have died. I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully she'll be able to come back on. But in the meantime, okay, here's Pam. What happened, child?
Oh, wait a minute. I think, hold on, because I can't hear you. Hang on. Let me see. Let me take my little earbuds off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I heard you. I hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You
Can
there?
you hear me? Uh-huh.
I can't hear you. What happened?
Oh Lord. Take your earpods off, completely off. Can you hear now?
Okay, let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Hang on.
That part, Tanya. The rules
Okay,
apply across the board.
gotcha.
Can you hear me now?
Praise God. Praise
Okay.
God. From
Let me go back. Let me go back to comments that when you missed when your phone went out. Okay. Tanya says when you was talking about having that joy, Tanya says and peace. And then Shalonda said joy is not predicated on your circumstances. Yes.
Woohoo!
And Tiff said that unspeakable joy. And then I just read Tasha comment when you was coming back. She says, I'm a little better at saying no, and thank God for that. I definitely need to learn how to set boundaries. And it's tough because it's close family members that I love dearly. And this is what Tanya's response was. Tanya says, the rules apply across the board, family or not.
Period.
That part.
That part. And family sometimes be the worst because they feel like you owe them because you are family. They get
say that again. Say that part
again. They feel entitled, certainly because they are family. They feel entitled that you owe them. Yes.
And you don't owe them nothing.
You don't owe them anything. You owe them a no, just like you would owe anybody else a no who ain't right. Okay? Period.
Period. Mic drop.
Period. I mean, and that's the thing. And we get hung up on that because, oh no, that's family. I mean, no, that's family. I gotta be there for my sister, my brother, my uncle, my mom. You know, even though they asking you for stuff or asking you to do stuff that's gonna drain you. Even if they asking you for stuff that's gonna drain you, you got to say no. And I know that's hard to do. Yes, that's hard to do because it's family, but you know, we got to have conversations. And here we go again. You know, we want to just sweep it under the rug and not talk about it or not answer the phone when they call. No. Or not be home when they drive up, you know.
Or listen, or you can be home and you peeping out the window.
See, we need to stop doing that. We need to have honest conversations and say, look, I know you don't understand right now, but I'm telling you no and be no.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go all into family. You don't owe them an explanation either. Just know I can't right now. That's it.
Right. And sometimes they take it personal. Like,
what? Yeah, they take it personal, girl. Be mad with you. Don't be inviting you over to Christmas dinner and stuff like that.
They be big mad.
Yeah, making you sit at the kiddie table and stuff like that.
And And I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, they take it personal now. Yeah, it does. Family be the worst sometimes, you know?
Lord have mercy. Listen.
Yeah. But
Well, we didn't listen. We don't. Oh, the hour went by fast. But listen, let me ask you this question.
okay.
So with the tissue, let me put the flyer back up. Make sure that if you haven't watched any episodes, you gotta watch. You gotta catch up so that I can talk about it. I want to have a discussion because like one of the episodes, like that first one, it was like a 2-part when you talk to the guy. Oh, there was so much in that to unpack. I was like, oh my God. I was like, listen, that first one, I'm like, you know how you be watching something and you be yelling through the screen like, I know. I was like, and you know, I told you the episode, you had your facial expression.
I can't hide it. I can't hide it.
I was like, wait. He said, wait. He said, wait.
Yes,
listen, I can't say because I want y'all to watch the episode, but and the launch party. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so the thing about it is we really want to have real conversations, especially with young men, you know, because, you know, they deal with a lot and they're misunderstood a lot, you know, and especially the people in their lives, you know, if they're dealing with trauma that they haven't like dealt with out in the open, you know, and their relationship suffers, you know, not only with their partner, with their children, with everybody all around them. So what we're trying to do is, you know, have these conversations with our young men and let them know that it's okay to not be okay. And let's talk about what it is that's deep inside of you that's causing all your anger and your anxiety. And, you know, guys, we don't really like to talk about they don't really like to talk about that, but we've gotten some willing young men on the show that I mean it's a blessing. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. And to have them trust me with those stories and our platform with those stories, it's truly a blessing. Truly a blessing.
Wow, that's
So
awesome.
I'm incredibly grateful. Yeah.
I'm gonna put this. This is a great question. Tanya says, I chimed in a little bit late and I wanted to ask the meaning behind the podcast title, The Tissue Box.
So the tissue box came to be. We like I said, that came from my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He dropped that tissue box. So it's centered around the whole trauma situation. Like if you're dealing with trauma, we want you to be able to cry it out. If you need a tissue, grab a tissue, right? To cry it out. And let's get on the other side of this trauma. Let's get to triumph. And we want to know how you got to triumph, you know? So these stories, it's not only like sad sobbing stories about trauma and oh, woe is me, my life is this, my life is that. We want to speak with folks who have gone through that trauma, been at their lowest, cried it out. We want to know how you turned your situation around. We want to know how you changed your triumph, your trauma to triumph. You know, you're sitting in front of me right now telling me your trauma, but look at you, how you turned your life around. We want to know that. So we're hoping, our goal is with sharing those stories about trauma to triumph, it's going to inspire somebody else who's going through the same type thing to know that they're not alone and they can make it. They can get out of the situation that they're in. So the whole tissue box came about with the whole crying out your trauma and triumph on the other side. So yeah, that's where the tissue box came from.
That was a really great question. And one of the questions that I was going to ask, you were flowing and
I'm sorry, I just be running my mouth all the time.
No, listen. That's what we do. Those of us in radio, that's what we do. We just talk freely. But this is the question that I wanted to ask. Okay, what do you say to that person that may be watching now? They're dealing with trauma. They probably be angry because listen, I know a couple people that I know they be angry all the time. Like
All the time, for no reason.
I'm like you wake up angry. But anyway, what do you listen? What do you say to that person that could be watching? They know they ain't on okay. They know that they're not okay. They know that they're dealing with trauma, but they refuse to put in the work. They refuse to go through the process of healing. They refuse, and they're like, I don't need no therapy. Because listen, I believe.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I believe in prayer,
Mm-hmm.
but Jesus and therapy equals healing.
Yeah, now you said that. Period. Yes, girl. It's hard because it goes back to doing the work, and you got to be willing. And if you're not willing, there ain't nothing I can do for you. There's nothing nobody can do for you unless you're willing. You got to take that look in the mirror at yourself. But when you stop running though, because you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to start running. You're going to run into a brick wall. See, that's the part I don't believe people get. They don't understand. If you going down the wrong path, you ain't going to go down the wrong path very long before you run into something. And it's going to bring you to your knees. Right? And to your knees is a really good place to be, because you don't have any other choice but to cry out and say, I need help. Okay. We try to prevent the people in our lives, our loved ones. We try to prevent that from happening because we see what's going to happen. We on the outside, we see what's going on, but you in the middle of it can't see the forest for the trees because you can't see what you're doing. Right. And so we, on the other end, on the outside looking in, we see what's happening to you. We see that you're in a bad way. Anything we say to you, you're going to shout, you're going to scream, you're going to cuss us out. You ain't going to be receiving at all. That's where we have to take our hands off the situation and let go and let God do what he needs to do in that person's life. And all we can do is stand on the sideline and pray. But we can never give up, especially if it's someone that we love. You cannot give up on them. You just have to continue to pray. You just have to continue to ask God to come into their lives and change them, help them to see what they're doing and help them to change their ways and be there for them when they fall, because they will fall eventually. And you have to be there for them. You have to be that safe space and that safe place when they do fall, to pick them up and say, it's okay. Because sometimes that's all they need to hear anyway. They deal with come from, a troubled childhood, they just came from a bad situation and nobody ever told them that it was okay. So they're fighting, constantly fighting, just fighting, everybody fighting themselves, everybody, because nobody has ever told them that it's okay. So we got to be patient with people that are dealing with trauma, especially if you know that they've been through a trauma-like situation and they're acting out, right? We just have to be patient. We have to be patient, but you can't do the work. They have to do the work.
That part.
You cannot do it for them.
You can't do the work. And I like this.
You can want it for them, but you can't do it for them. You can want it. It's not the same.
Right.
But
That's so good. That's so good. Because I want it for some people so bad.
Oh
yeah. But they don't want it.
They ain't ready. It's not that they don't want it. They're not ready. They don't even know that they need to want it. Because they're so traumatized. They're masking their feelings and that anger. When the anger comes in, like would you say when somebody just wake up angry for no reason? Yeah. They know something's wrong. They just don't want to take that look in the mirror. They don't want to face it, and they don't want to put in the work. Right. So, but like I said, you can want it for them, but you can't do it for them. They got to want it themselves.
Right.
And if they're Mm.
Go ahead. I'm just gonna read Tanya comment. Being brought to your knees is the perfect position to pray. You said
Yes. Yes. And like you said, we try, especially the people in our lives that we love. And, we girl, all I'm saying, you better watch out. When the Lord humbles you, you better watch out.
that part.
You
Ooh.
better watch out, because he will eventually humble you. If you walking around here and you angry and you ticking everybody off and you just treating everybody all foul for no reason, oh, it's going to come to the point where you're going to have to drop down on your knees and God will humble you. You don't, that's where you need to be careful. That's where you don't want, especially the people on the outside, your family and stuff. You try to prevent that. Right, you try to prevent that and try to talk to them, but like I said, if they're not ready to do the work, God will eventually humble them, and they're gonna need you, and then that's when they're gonna realize that they needed you all along and that you were right. But that won't be the time for you to say I told you so. That's got to be the time where you say it's okay, you're on your way to healing now.
I'm glad you
So
said that. I'm glad you said that, because some people like
yeah.
And that's what I do when they come back and they realize they need me. I'm just there. I'm like, I'm here.
Yeah.
And when I say I'm here, I'm really there. I don't say it just to be talking.
Right.
I say I'm being sincere with it. And I would never say, like, I'm glad you say that, because there's some people that I'll tell them I'm always there for them, but then they don't reciprocate what I am to them. They don't reciprocate it.
They don't, Tori. But you know what? And I know it's hard, but we can't look at it that way.
Yeah.
We can't look at it that way. We have to be there. But see, the thing about it is, the people that are dealing with the trauma and the anger, they don't really know it. And what you're fighting against is not them. It's not them. It's not them. It's their trauma you're dealing with, and the whole. Oh yes, whoo! It's the spirits that have them engaged and locked so tight. So we just have to pray, and ask the Lord to break the chains. Just break the chains, because you look at that person, whoever he or she may be, and you look and you got to see past what they're showing you. If they're cussing you out and they're screaming and being angry, you got to look past that. And I know that's hard to do, child. I know that's hard to do, but you got to look past that, because it's not them. It's not them.
Oh, that's powerful right there. Woo,
it's the trauma. The trauma is so deep, and they're hurting. You got to look at it. They're hurting, and they don't know what else to do. But they got to put in that work, though. They got to understand that there's work for you to do, okay, to get better.
That's good. That's good right there. Tish says, people don't like pain, and it hurts to change.
Oh, yes, it does. But change is a process. It's people don't like to change, but sometimes you're forced to change. Yeah, in your circumstance, and your situation will force you to change. God will force you to change. You can't go around here all willy-nilly and hurting people and attacking people for no reason. That's not gonna go unnoticed. That's not gonna go unaccounted for. So you're gonna have to answer one day, right? You're gonna have to answer.
And I'm glad you say that, because the thing about what people don't realize, I tell people this all the time, you gotta be careful how you treat people, because here's the thing, P. Like, the wrath may not come on you. It could affect your kids. It could affect your mama.
It could affect that all the time. Yes.
Listen, it may not come back on you. It can affect somebody that's real close to you. And you wondering why this happened.
Right.
Because of
Right.
stuff you did.
That's
Like,
right.
that's why I'm very careful. I say, I don't want my son to have to pay for stuff I did.
That's
So that's why
right.
I had to make some things right. I don't want
That's
him to suffer for what I did.
Oh, girl. Yes.
Listen.
Yes. Yes. That is so true. That is so
Mhm.
true. You got to be careful. You got to be careful what you say and how you treat people. You
And
know, it
yeah. And Tish also says we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
that's what that exactly. Thank you, Tish, because that's exactly what I meant. Well, you're not fighting the person per se.
Yeah.
You're not fighting them. You have to look past them because they're dealing with some stuff. They're dealing with some demons and stuff going on up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I like I said, I know that's hard to do, but you know, we have to be stewards, you know, and we have to try to be there for each other because I mean, look at how many times God them forgave us, you know.
Right. So many times.
Look at how many times he's forgiven us.
Whew, countless times. I know he's been good to me.
Oh, yes.
And you know something, I just told my son earlier no, I think I told him this last night because we always discuss what we're gonna wear the next day to go to church. And he was like, well, should I wear this? You know, and I said, listen, it's not about what you have on your body. I said it's about what's in your heart. I said, because you can be dressed to the gods and be a dressed up demon.
You better tell it. That's so true. That's so true. Yes, girl. Yeah, that is so true. It ain't nothing about it. It's all about your heart, what you have in your heart. And God knows your heart, right? He
Absolutely.
knows your heart. He knows where you're coming from. And that's where you know, I mentioned earlier about, you know, who you share your information with. You got to be careful with that. And God will give you signs. He'll let you know. Because he works that way. That's how he moves. Let you know. And if you're struggling with it, just pray for discernment. He'll give it to you.
Yes, and Tish said, this good, y'all. Thank you, Tish.
Thank you.
Tish, make sure, Tish, let me tell you, make sure you watch her podcast. You think this good. Wait you see her podcast. It is, let me tell you something. It's one of, you know how you be watching a good movie. I'm gonna tell you right now, when you watch your podcast, just get your tea, your popcorn, get it ready. Because you're gonna be glued to the screen. You're gonna be like, man. It's just that good. And listen, like I said, I have been knowing Pam for years. And I'm not saying this to say this because I'm like this. If it ain't right, I'm like, listen, Pam,
sis.
yeah, listen, sis, hey, that ain't it. That ain't it. But y'all, I'm telling you, it is so good, it's so powerful. But that, like, I love the guy, I like all the episodes, but that launch episode.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, God, I hate I missed it. But it was on a Wednesday and I was in church, y'all. I was like, God, but it is so good. And I'm like, if I'm feeling like this, watching it on the screen, just imagine if I was there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
it
was
God. Powerful. It was just chill. Yeah, it was great. Like I said, really I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful for where we are just starting out. So yeah, if you tissuebox.com, you can watch the episode from there on the website, the Tissue Box podcast on YouTube, the podcasting platforms, you can find us there. We drop a new episode every Wednesday. So yeah.
That's awesome. It is so good. I'm so super excited for you because you don't know how many people that is going to be touched and blessed, and what your I mean, because you have been blazing trails for years, but this right here is going to be opening the new doors, the opportunity, and it's something about healing.
Yes, that's it.
We got to heal, and some people refuse to heal. Because listen, I had to tell myself, Tori, listen, girl, you say you healed, but you ain't healed. You ain't healed. You ain't healed. Is you and then there's sometimes you think you heal, but you ain't as healed as you think you are.
Right,
Now, when
right.
you get to the point where you can talk about a situation without crying, like I'm
Yeah.
looking at some of the things that they share. Like I said, I don't want to mention what was discussed, but because I want people to watch the podcast for themselves. But some of the stuff that was shared, I was like, how can he talk about this
I know. I
when
know.
without crying? I was like, they got that's all God, and they put in the work. They did the
Yes.
work.
And
So it's
right.
definitely how you say you go through the trauma, but all the stories you see the triumph.
That's right. And that's what the tissue box is there for. Just in case they need the tissue, it's right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I'm trying to. It's powerful. That
Yeah.
like I said, I don't watch all of them more than one time. Like one of the episodes, you see, I kept commenting every time they said, "Ooh," I kept. I say, you know what, Pam gonna be sick of me. Let me just sit and just watch. Cause listen, I be like commenting on everything, like, "Oh, this was good." Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's
It,
like that.
it's just gonna we're just hoping it's just gonna get better with the stories that we highlight, that we share. Like I said, it it's got to be a blessing, for people to want to be transparent and honest and candid about their trauma, because we know that's not easy. So I take great pride in that. I take great pride, and then I never push anyone. I just say, be as comfortable as you can possibly be with your trauma, whatever it is that you want to share. I'm not going to dig deep, because that's not the whole purpose of
Mhm.
it. I want you to be comfortable, because we got to start somewhere.
Right.
We got to make it okay to not be okay, and to share these stories, right? So we're going to have some powerful stories from young men that are coming up real. So I'm super excited about it. So yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Now there may be some people watching that may have experienced some trauma, that put in the work, that did the healing. What do they need to do if they by chance they want to be a guest on the podcast? What do they do for that? Is there an option that they just reach out to you? Is there a
Just
mailing list
just
or
just reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, at thettissuebox.com, or at the tissue box on Instagram. You can email me, you can message me on Facebook. Just let me know. Send me your email, and we'll reach out to you and have a conversation. And yeah, we'll go from there. It's
okay?
super simple. We don't make anything complicated. I mean, you can find me on Facebook, or Instagram. I haven't graduated to TikTok yet. So yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, TikTok is a whole nother world. I had
Okay.
listen,
I don't know if I'm ready for a whole nother world yet.
Pete, I'm gonna tell you right now, TikTok is a whole nother world. Cause let me say, I had to fall back from TikTok, because like you could be on there, like say I get on, it's 7:50 now. Say I log on to TikTok 7:50, and I'm scrolling, and then next thing I know, at 10 o'clock, I'm like, what? How I get here? Yeah, and I don't even do. Wait a minute, what happened to Pam? I think her phone. Let me see if she comes back before I end the podcast. But I thank you guys for tuning in. This has been a very powerful episode. I want to encourage you guys to make sure you watch, and let me put the flyer back up so you'll know what to look for. This is the Tissue Box podcast. You can go to the tissuebox.com. You can also go to make sure you follow and like Pam's page on Facebook, the Tissue Box on Facebook, the Tissue Box on Facebook, and also make sure you follow her YouTube channel as well. And just like Pam was saying, that the episodes are uploaded every Wednesday. And once you subscribe on YouTube, of course, you will get the notification when a new episode drops. So make sure we band together and support my girl, my sister, Pam Jordan. I call her P, Sister P, that she's been in this radio game for a mighty long time. And I'm just super excited. And one thing I could say about God, he keeps opening so many doors. Make sure that when you leave this world, that you leave this world empty. Make sure you do everything that God has called you to do before you leave this world. Leave this world empty. And I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if Pam get a chance to come back. But if not, we're gonna end. Okay, here she is. Let's see. Hold on.
My phone died. Sorry.
You fine. That means we need to wrap it up. I was just telling them, I was just reiterating to make sure they follow your the tissue box on Facebook. Make sure they subscribe to your YouTube channel. And I also make sure when you subscribe, make sure you click that notification bell. So every time an episode uploads, you will be notified. So that's very important. You get all the notifications. So make sure you do that. And I was telling them, make sure they support you because you've been doing this for a long time. But I was saying, it's so amazing how God gives us the opportunity. So many doors open. You don't know what else God has in store. You don't know how many doors this is going to open for you. You don't know what's next. Listen, she on what 4 stations podcasting. Listen, she doing it. I'm telling you, she doing it now. She's doing it. And Tasha says, I enjoy this. Thanks. Thank you, Tasha, for tuning in. Tasha, make sure you go and subscribe to her YouTube channel. Make sure you like her Facebook page, follow, and make sure you invite some people on her Facebook. Make sure you invite some people, share her YouTube channel so more people. We're gonna get these numbers up. Make sure we support her.
And absolutely. And if you know someone, if you have a suggestion of someone that would like to share their trauma on the Tissue Box podcast, just be sure to shoot me an email, message me on Facebook at Pam Jordan. And we'll make sure we'll make the connect and go from there, because we gotta change trauma's narrative. You know, we got to get people talking. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of these suicides. I'm sick and tired of these mass shootings. I'm sick and tired of what's happening in our school systems with these kids bringing knives and guns. And I'm sick and tired of that. And it all relates to trauma. You know, it all relates to trauma, and people not sharing and not talking about what's going on in their lives, what's troubling them. So we got to start having conversations about this. So this is only the beginning.
Absolutely. And when I tell you, like you said, you about 3 weeks, a month in, let me tell you, Pam came out the gate. I'm telling y'all, out the
Girl,
gate.
Look, we ain't playing with it. We ain't playing.
And ain't playing at all. So make sure you support. And Tasha says, Tasha says, hold up, as soon as I get off, I'm looking it up. I wish my foster kids could connect with you. Matter of fact, just send her a message.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, send her a message. She'll respond to your message. Just send her a message. Have them respond. Have them send her a message. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the foster kids definitely have some stories to tell.
Yes.
Oh my God, some powerful stories.
Mm-hmm.
And what's up, Cousin Dorita? And she says it's always good to listen to positive thoughts. Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in, Cousin Dorita. But Pam, listen, I done kill your phone. We about to be an hour and a half. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you done murdered my phone, girl.
I'm sorry. We're gonna wrap it up. And then Tasha says, I will do. Yes, Lord. She was talking about the foster kids, so she will do and have no contact. Okay. And so anyway, like I always end up, and Pam, hang on, if your phone will live, hang on a second once I sign off. But you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you missed the beginning, make sure you definitely tune into the replay. And I'm actually probably gonna re-air this because this was really, really good. So I'm gonna have to re-air this episode. It was really, really good. But as I end each show, I always tell you guys, we go through things in life, obstacles in life. Remember, you may bend, but don't you dare break. But always remember to keep the faith. You guys have a blessed evening, and thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the remainder of your Sunday, and have a blessed week. Good night. night.
Night.